Public Works Meeting Committee, June 25th, 2025, 6:30 in the courthouse chambers. Tonight in presence, we have myself, Eric Mankins, the chair, Josh O'Neill, vice chair, Commissioner Callahan, Commissioner Boyle, Commissioner O'Leary, and Commissioner Healy, all present this evening. We have two things on the docket this evening. First, we have communication number 2024-544. Michelle Shea, District 2 Commissioner, requests a status update and Public Works Committee review of the condition of the walking trail tunnel under Harrison Avenue, south of Dickey's BBQ. We've had this in abeyance for some time. We are looking for an update for Director Neary, if he is here tonight, and if we could get an update from Director Neary on any status or where we're at or who is responsible of this project, or this concern, I should say, not project. Commissioner or Director Neary.
Thank you, Chairman Mankins. At this time, I do not have any more information or any updates.
So Commissioner or Director Neary, with no updates at this time, when is the next meeting that you would be meeting with the Montana Department of Transportation?
I think it's the 15th of July.
From the commissioners here, does anybody have any questions, seeing that we have Director Neary at this time? Commissioner Healy.
So, in the past, beginning in the archive records, it shows that in 2000 is when they started changing that culvert into a tunnel for human traffic. And it's always been Butte-Silver that maintained it. There's other articles that were found, as well as, what was the other thing? Oh, we pay the electric bill. So since we're responsible for that much of the maintenance, then why is it being questioned now as to who's responsible for maintenance?
Thank you, Commissioner Healy. Director Neary, would you like to comment on that?
Chairman Mankins, Commissioner Healy, I can't. The question is who owns it? Who's responsible for it? It needs. I mean, it's going to take. It's a pretty big financial hit to fix what's going on with it, and if it's not ours, we're not going to fix it.
Commissioner Healy, follow-up?
So the concern, I guess, is not just the fact that if it can't be used as a tunnel, it continues because of what Butte-Silver did to change it into a tunnel. It can't drain back into Silver Bow Creek or Bell Creek. People are concerned about the water that is now, has dead fish in there. They've observed transients urinating in there. It's pretty filthy. So they're concerned about dangerous water and maybe perhaps children going down the ramp to play in it like children were due. So they're concerned about diseased water. Is that also then MDT's problem?
Thank you, Commissioner Healy. Director Neary.
Chairman Mankins, Commissioner Healy, yes.
Any other questions at this time? Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Chairman Mankins. That would definitely be a reportable condition to the Health Department, whether it's state or county. So I can follow up on that for us and get back to you. Because they would have jurisdiction whether it's state or county, because it's a health hazard.
So Commissioner Shea, you're going to report this to the Health Department and then come back to us for an update?
Yes, I will send an email tomorrow and I will make sure that Trudy's on that.
Any other questions from the commissioners at this time at this communication? Commissioner with a follow-up.
So I guess then the question that I was specifically being asked, since Butte-Silver built it, and it needs to go back to the way its original form was, is it going to be our responsibility to break it down back to its original state?
Thank you, Commissioner Healy. Director Neary.
Chairman Mankins, Commissioner Healy, that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, is who would be responsible for that. And the water is draining into, Blacktail Creek. The water is draining into it. It gets up to a certain height and it is draining into the other side of the creek. But I do agree there was garbage. We've cleaned it out twice. So we are doing what we can to clean the garbage up and make it safe, but it probably should be all taken out and just let it flow like a culvert, like it's supposed to be, my opinion.
Thank you, Director Neary, on that information that you provided. Also on that, I would have to agree with Director Neary if we did go that route. But I guess we would just have to see still who is going to be fiscally responsible in order to even to clean it up. So if there's nothing more on the question, would anybody entertain a motion to do what you would like with communication number 2024-544? Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman Mankins. I'd like to make a motion to hold in abeyance communication 2024-544 until we have further updates.
So we have a motion on the floor for communication number 2024-544 to hold in abeyance with further updates. We have a second by Commissioner Healy. All of those in favor? All those against? So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 0 motion. This will be held in abeyance. 6, sorry. Seeing that we're Commissioner Callahan now has a question for communication number 2024-544.
You didn't ask if there was any
Callahan.
questions. Should we put a date on it so it doesn't come up every other week until, should we just say the end of July or the last committee of the whole meeting in July, or, because it could come up 2 more times prior to Mr. Neary being able to. I mean, it's been coming up for 3 months straight so far, and we just keep pounding it down the road.
Thank you, Commissioner Callahan. That is a great suggestion. With that being said, I mean, I would look into August for this to come. If we knew the dates, I don't know the dates right offhand, and I do not have a calendar in front of me to see where this would land. And then possibly Commissioner O'Leary was thinking about making a motion going that direction, or if he had something else on the question as well.
On the question. Mr.
I guess
Chairman.
I would like to defer to Commissioner Shea since it's her communication.
So
you.
Commissioner Shea, would you like to make a motion? A substitute motion?
I believe that since you guys have made a motion, was
Yeah.
it passed?
Yes.
You'll have to undo that motion. If you want to make another motion to do something different, it would be to put it in suspense, which is where things usually go to die. So that's not my preference, but I'll defer to the committee.
Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chair Mankins. The reason I asked Commissioner Shea was because I tend to agree with that. If we put this in the place to die, it may not come back, and then it can get forgotten about. So I think it's probably fine to leave this on our agenda, and if we need to hold it in abeyance again in 2 weeks, that would be fine.
Anybody else on the question? Commissioner Callahan?
Yeah, they don't die when they get held in abeyance. I will make a substitute motion that we go ahead and hold it till, say, the first judiciary meeting in August. Is there,
So then Commissioner O'Leary will have to go back and make a substitute motion on his motion. Commissioner Healy would have to second that motion, then we'd have to re-vote on that. So Commissioner O'Leary.
We have already voted on this, and it passed, so we will have to make a motion to reconsider, vote on making a motion to reconsider. If that passes, then we can make another motion to change what we have done here. So I guess if that's the thought, then somebody can make a motion to reconsider.
So for the lack of no reconsidered, the motion stands. This will be held in abeyance, and it will be here in 2 weeks on a 6-0 vote. Moving on to...
I got a question. I got a comment.
We have a comment by Commissioner Callahan.
The reason the comment was, or the question was asked, because there was no opportunity to ask questions before the vote was called. That's why it was done that way. So if you want to go legal.
You can make, yeah.
I made a motion to hold it. I made a substitute motion.
We already passed that first.
So if you make a motion to reconsider,
I'll make a motion to reconsider the motion to bring it up again in 2 weeks.
so there is a substitute motion on communication number 2024-544 to reconsider the motion to the prior motion. Do I have a second? Second. So we have a second by Commissioner O'Neill. All those in favor of the motion to reconsider?
Aye.
All those against? Nay. 4-2. So now that we can reconsider a motion, is there anybody that has a motion for communication number 2024-544? Commissioner Callahan.
I will make a motion that we hold this in a, or put it in a, what do we call it? Suspense file until August, the first judiciary meeting in August.
Public Works.
Or Public Works, I'm sorry.
So we have a motion for communication number 2024-544 to hold in the suspense file until August 13th for the Public Works meeting at 6:30. We have a second by Commissioner Boyle. We're rechecking the dates. Are we correct with that, Commissioner O'Leary, with the 13th?
The second, 16th.
16th?
You're thinking the second week? The second?
13th.
Oh, we don't have a meeting on the...
Six.
Committee of the whole.
It's a 13.
13th.
The 13th of July is a Sunday.
Oh, August.
Oh, you're talking about all in August. The 13th would be the second Wednesday.
Okay, so we do have the correct date, so we do have a motion on the floor to hold in the suspense file till August 13th, the Public Works at 6:30. We have that by Commissioner Callahan. We had a second by Commissioner Boyle. Anything on the question? Commissioners in favor of this, please vote. Commissioners against? So 6-0, it will be held until the August 13th Public Works meeting. Second on the docket is communication number 2025-297. Russ O'Leary, Commissioner, District 5, informing Counselor of Commissioner about concerns regarding roadside trash and landfill covered load requirements. Last time that we asked for Sheriff Lester to possibly come in and talk a little bit about load requirements and what is something that he could do to help out in this cause. We do have a constituent in the audience tonight that would also like to speak, but I would like to hear from Sheriff Lester at this time.
Thank you, Chairman Mankins. I did talk to Commissioner O'Leary. There is a state statute that covers police involvement in vehicles that are not covered, separate from the local ordinance. So I don't know if there was talk about changing the ordinance to allow the police to enforce that ordinance. There's really no need to change it to allow us to enforce it because there's a state code that allows, and I did give Commissioner O'Leary a copy of that code, state code, vehicle code. I talked to Judge McCarthy. So here, from my history, and this is just back in the ancient days when I was on the street, if somebody was driving down the street and there was some kind of refuse blowing out of their truck, I would stop them and say, here, you've dropped these items, pick them up, cover your load. And I never issued any citations. I've never issued a citation for that violation myself. I talked to Judge McCarthy. He doesn't recall ever getting a citation for that. I don't know what happens at the dump when people show up and their load is not covered. So that's what happens with our guys, and I know that some of them issue warnings and tell people to pick it up, and then if they can cover it, then great. The cost of the tarp's, what, $7 at Walmart? So it's not a real expense to ask somebody to cover the load. The one thing I do know that we like to use common sense, so if we see somebody that's load is uncovered, although say maybe it's 7 or 8 bags of grass, but the bags are secured in the truck and there's nothing blowing out of there, we don't deal with those things. Unless something's coming out of the truck, they're dropping lumber, or something's trash is blowing out, then we would generally pull them over. And it sounds like we've been issuing warnings for that. But as far as Continental Drive, I'm not sure whether that's something that people are taking to the alley rally. The loads aren't covered, because I don't know what the link would be to the landfill from Continental Drive. But so there is a code. We can be involved. I don't see any need to change the local ordinance to allow the police to become involved in it.
Thank you, Sheriff Lester. Commissioner O'Leary, would you like to comment at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Mankins. Sheriff Lester, I was just reading this state code that you gave me, and the Section 1 reads, a person operating a loaded vehicle on a public highway shall load the vehicle or secure the load sufficiently to prevent littering or create an obstruction dangerous to the public traveling on the highway. Do you read that as that your officers would be able to pull somebody over if they had an uncovered load, or that there would need to be some kind of hazards, visible hazard, something flapping or near coming out or had come out?
Oh, I think if it was an uncovered load, they could pull them over to say you should cover that. I wouldn't have our officers pulling anybody over unless it looked like there was something precarious that was going to come out of the truck or anything like that. Like I said, garbage bags or something. Garbage cans, a lot of people put their garbage or their lawn waste in garbage cans and actually take them to the dump. If the garbage cans are secured, I wouldn't really want our officers pulling people over unless there was some risk or some obvious indication that something was going to blow out of there. But I think they could, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Leary, for the question. To Sheriff Lester, Commissioner O'Leary, would you like any follow-ups to that?
Thank you, Mr. Mankins. I guess it's not really a question, more of a comment. This communication came to me from a constituent, and I understand her concern because, driving around the county, there is garbage all over around the main thoroughfares along the interstate. I know we've talked about the garbage getting picked up along the road from Rocker up to the landfill by our local staff. But of course, there's just garbage along the interstates and main roads everywhere. So I'm wondering if, I guess maybe the question would be to Sheriff Lester, would you be okay with, addressing your officers and having them do a little bit more on this summer? This specific issue. I know we don't necessarily need to change the statute or the local ordinance here, but we obviously have some constituent concerns, and I think it'd be worth, maybe giving the public a fair warning. Hey, we're really paying attention to the garbage issue more. You need to have covered loads, especially for folks that are obviously don't have covered loads, if that would be possible.
Yeah, I don't think we'd have any issue with our guys pulling people over or and giving them, saying, hey, you probably need to cover that, especially if you're going to be going at highway speeds, because a lot of people drive around town with all the stuff in their truck and it's not an issue. Then they take off on the highway and some wind gets under the boards or whatever's in there, and that's when the issue comes up. So it wouldn't be, we could certainly do some public work or some public information type stuff where we pull people over and say, hey, we need to cover those. And I can also contact the media and tell them that we were going to focus on enforcing the covered load ordinance separate from whatever's happening at the landfill.
Thank you, Sheriff Lester. Commissioner Callahan has a question.
I just want to comment on, if you guys could do that, that would help out a great deal. Just drive down Iron Street. A secured load, put a mattress on it, it's secure. Drive down Iron Street and there's mattresses on the road, on the side of the road. So like you said, as you pick up your speed, your secured load is less and less secured. So if we can just, anybody hauling trash, that they can pull them over, warn them, start using it, or we're going to fine you, would help out a bunch, I would think.
Yeah, and I think the media, just a little something in the newspaper, maybe on the radio would be, certainly couldn't hurt anything either.
Thank you.
Commissioner Healy.
Thank you. So what about, and maybe anyone can answer, maybe if they know, because I pick up garbage. I spent 5 hours cleaning Iron Street from Casa Grande's, and the worst of it is at where they're unloading the garbage at the Continental end. But there's people who have, especially specifically on 2nd Street, they have had a trailer parked on the street for over a week now, and the wind was blowing and the garbage was blowing over, so I was on my way to work. There was a man outside. I asked very politely, just gonna ask, can you please cover your load? There was garbage blowing over. I picked it up, brought it back over to that trailer, and he said, you can't prove it's mine. I did take pictures of it, and I just asked, that's all, I just asked. I didn't call the police. I don't know if it's a community enrichment, if it's parked on the road, and the garbage is blowing all over because they won't cover, I just asked nicely. I was like, can you please cover your load? Look at this garbage flying over. And I do have a picture of the garbage all around that trailer, and he's trying to, it's still there. This is a week later, and this same trailer's on 2nd and Main, uncovered with garbage blowing all over. I pick it up tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Healy. Sheriff Lester, would you like to address that, or?
Sure, thank you. If if there's a truck that's sitting there and there's nothing happening there as far as something coming out of it, that's probably not something we can do. Community enrichment may be able to help you. But if it's blowing out of there and we can determine whose truck it is, in my mind at least, that person, we could talk to him and say, listen, cover that up, or you could be cited for littering, which is basically what's occurring, although he may not be throwing it out himself. He's put himself in that position where litter's coming out of his truck, and so I think that's a littering offense that we probably could handle.
Thank you, Sheriff Lester. And I know that we were addressing that, and that'll be something. We do have a taxpayer that is out in our audience today with Mrs. Douglas, if she would like to come up and speak for the last 5 minutes or however many minutes that she would like to speak on, to just voice her concerns and maybe her thoughts on this process and where we're going with it.
Yes, thank you all for taking on this issue. I'm sure we're all equally affected by it, but I have 2 short comments. One thing, I think that fines and punishing people might not be very effective in this particular issue because it's so pervasive and has kind of a community flavor. So I wonder if we can look at it from a different perspective. And I know this is a kind of a long shot, but I feel like Alley Rally is really quite effective. And if there's any way we could consider eventually to put together a year-long alley rally, I don't know what it would take. I know it's a lot more than what I can understand, that people would use it, there would be less garbage, and maybe we could begin to influence people a bit to not let garbage go all over. For 30 years, I ran behind Tech in the Big Butte, and there was old garbage and new garbage and people moving out of apartments and piles of garbage, and various people put together groups and went out communities, brought out dumpsters, and we picked out garbage, and a lot of people volunteered, but it's still happening. So those are my two comments. I feel like punishment isn't a very good deterrent, but maybe if we could figure out how to have alley rally and give opportunities for people to bring their garbage in more regularly, they wouldn't have so much to distribute. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Mrs. Douglas, for that comment. I think with the year-long alley rally, I think that we would have to look into that unless someone has a comment or direction on that particular. I don't know if anybody is able to answer that. Is that something that Director Neary has any direction on that? Director Neary?
Chairman Mankins, I don't have the authority to declare that there be an alley rally year-round. CCCS manages and pays for most of alley rally. We do fund some of it, but Mike Thatcher pays for all the help. I don't know if that would be the answer. I'm not positive, but something we can definitely look into.
Thank you, Director Neary, on that, and that'll be something that I can look out and see if that will be something that is possibly something that could be funded for the full year. It's nice to have a positive suggestion with this instead of fines. Mrs. Douglas said it nicely, and on the other part of it, it's just with the people that are out there listening. This is our city. This is our problem. If we all do our part and continue to spend as much time as we do on these meetings and making phone calls and whatnot and just getting out there as a group, I know that Commissioner Healy has stated that she's done this before, but all of us need to do a little bit to continue to beautify Butte, and when it comes around again, that we need to just be educate our youth a little bit more, educate just everybody in our community what we can do and how we can solve this problem. So with that being said, we're getting right up to the minute. Do we have? Thank you, Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Commissioner Mankins. I know we're bumping right up against Judiciary's timeline here, and I think you've got a full agenda. Commissioner Healy, I have lots of other things to say as well. So what I'd like to do is hold this in
We're
advance
holding
for
it.
2 weeks.
Commissioner
and then
Healy,
we can
relax.
So I'll make a motion to hold communication 2025-297 in advance for 2 weeks, and then we can further address some of these items at that time.
So we have a motion on the floor to hold communication number 2025-297. We can also convene after the meeting this evening and make sure that Commissioner Healy gets her say in her statement along with Commissioner O'Leary. So at this time, I would like to make a substitute motion that we hold communication number 2025-297, and we will re-adjourn after tonight's meeting. Reconvene, sorry. So we have a motion to reconvene. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, So we have a 4-2 vote, so we will reconvene after. Thank you.